Welcome you friends, to Tips and Tricks tutorial. Today we are going to teach about some basic things of mechanics which is very essential to solve problems of mechanics. So let's take a look about the topics we are going to learn today. First of all, we should know what mechanics is. Then what is force, parallelogram law of vector addition, theorem of superposition, theorem of transmissibility, and what is constraint. At first we should know what is mechanics. It's a science that describes and predicts the condition of rest or motion of any system of an object. The first and foremost question that comes to our mind is that why do we study mechanics? If we look around to the several creation of civilization, we would hardly find any item that is beyond the purview of mechanics. Consider for example, table and chairs of our reading room to a simple stapler that we use daily, water taps to ball bearing of fans, a robot and a human beings, all these have connection with mechanics. Depending upon the nature of the problems treated, mechanics is divided into statics and dynamics. Statics is the study of forces and conditions of equilibrium of bodies subjected to the action of forces. On other hand, dynamics is the study of motion of rigid bodies and their correlation with the forces causing them. Dynamics is further divided into kinematics and kinetics. Kinematics deals with the space-time relationship of a body and not at all with the forces that cause the motion. Kinetics studies the laws of motion of bodies under the action of forces, or we can say that kinetics is the study of the relationship between the forces and the resulting motion. Now come to the force. Force is any external action that tends to change the condition of rest or motion of the object on which it acts. The specification or characteristics of a force are its magnitude, its point of application, and its direction. Force is a vector quantity. The concept of force is related to the mass of the body with Newton's second law. As force is a vector quantity, we have to use vector addition to find the resultant of two forces. We will use parallelogram law of vector addition. The parallelogram law for the addition of two forces states that two forces acting on a body may be replaced by a single force, called their resultant, obtained by drawing the diagonal of the parallelogram which has sides equal to the given forces. Suppose two force F1 and F2 are acting at a point. So the resultant of these two forces will be the diagonal of a parallelogram whose two adjacent sides are the given two forces. And we all know the formula using which we can easily calculate the magnitude and direction of the resultant force. Now we will discuss about laws of superposition. We all know that two forces are in equilibrium have resultant zero, and their combined action on a rigid body is equivalent to that of no force at all. Based on this concept we can explain the theorem of superposition. It states that the action of a given system of forces on a rigid body will in no way be changed if we add or subtract from them another system of forces in equilibrium. Let us consider now a rigid body under the action of a force P applied at the point B. Now if we apply two forces which is same in magnitude and opposite in direction at the point B, then these two forces F will in no way alter the action of the given force P. That means, the action of three forces on the body is equivalent to action of only one force P on that body. The next most important concept is theorem of transmissibility of a force. This theorem states that the point of application of a force may be transmitted along its line of action without changing the effect of the force on any rigid body to which it may be applied. Let us consider a rigid body on which a force P is acting at point A. Now according to the theorem of transmissibility we can extend the line of force keeping the direction same. So, the force can also be represented like that. From this example, we see that, while the transmission of the point of application of a force acting on a body does not change the condition of equilibrium, it may produce a decided change in the internal forces to which the body is subjected. Thus the use of this theorem of a force is limited to those problems of statics in which we are interested only in the condition of equilibrium of a rigid body, and not with the internal forces to which it is subjected. One more thing we have to know is constraint. Constraint is nothing but restriction to free motion in any direction. As in the diagram, we have an object which is resting on a horizontal plane such that it is free to move along the plane, but it cannot move vertically downward. So the plane on which the body is resting is nothing but the constraint. And if there is any constraint, there will be a reaction. These points you have to keep in your mind. That's all about the basic things of mechanics which you should know, and these things will help you to solve various numerical problems based on mechanics. Hope you learned something from this video. If you have any kind of doubt, feel free to ask your doubt in the comment section. We will clear your doubt as soon as possible. So friends, subscribe, share and like the video and stay updated.